Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ian Rakelli, and welcome to the IJR Sports Show. We are going to discuss the hottest topics in the world of sports. Let's get right into it. Sorry for the feedback, ladies and gentlemen. You might have heard that through my headphones. Apologies for that. Now, if you want to support sports and tune into every single podcast that we do every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, then subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the Facebook page we have, IJR Sports, or follow your host, Ian Rakelli, on Twitter. But I do have to warn you, though, if you follow me on Twitter, I'm just going to be posting about the Chicago Cubs the entire time. Just giving you a fair warning. But anyway, let's get right into baseball, and let's talk about Shohei Ohtani. All right, he has declared his list of teams he will talk to. And right here, I am going to tell you them one by one. Now, the 6 teams that Shohei Ohtani has said is 6 teams in Major League Baseball, I will tell you to him right now. The 6 teams that are in the running for Ohtani is the Los Angeles Angels, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the San Diego Padres, the San Francisco Giants, the Seattle Mariners, and my Chicago Cubs. Yes, your host, your favorite team is the Chicago Cubs. Now, when I look at Ohtani, I mean, he is probably one of the best Japanese players that is coming over right now. He is a pitcher, and he is also a hitter, too, which makes him very deadly. Now, here's the other thing that you do have to say real quick, okay? 5 out of those 6 teams coast: San Francisco, Seattle, Los Angeles, and San Diego. So it does look like Ohtani wants to be on the West Coast, but I do like the fact that he has the Cubs on there. And if I know Theo Epstein, and I know Theo Epstein the way I do, he is going to make a pitch to try to sell him the Chicago Cubs. And here's the thing about Epstein, he sells pretty well. Go look at what he did with John Lester, what he did with Jason Hayward, did with Wade Davis as well. I mean, he did get him in a trade, but he still sold him. The thing I'm trying to say is go look at Epstein and look at what he's done in Chicago. I think he can very well persuade Ohtani to come to Chicago. But I do have to address the fact that the Yankees or the city of New York are a bunch of crybabies. All right, hey, have you seen the newspaper from the New York Post? You know, I'm gonna hand it to you real quick. I'm gonna show you it. There's a podcast, so you can't see it, obviously, but I'm gonna show him. Look at what the headline is for the New York Daily News. What a chicken. Japan star snubs Yanks and fears the big city. No, that's not the case. New York, your ego is so big, that's not even the case right now. He didn't want to come to New York because he wants to be on the West Coast. In fact, it's been very clear from day one, he wants to be on the West Coast. That's why 5 out of the 6 teams are on the West Coast. The Cubs are in the Midwest, obviously, and I would like to see him on the Cubs. But all I am saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that Ohtani has the Cubs in the running. I think we will see very soon where he will go to. Now, let's also talk, well, as we're going to stay on MLB, let's discuss the Yankees, because I was just talking about them. Aaron Boone, the former New York Yankee, you might recognize him for what he did against the Red Sox. Everyone recognizes that home run. Let's be honest, everybody does. Aaron Boone was announced as the manager of the New York Yankees. Now, this is very important. And hear me explain why him being the new manager of the New York Yankees is very important. He has been a baseball analyst from ESPN, but here is the important part. He has never managed at any level in baseball. So think about this for a second. So the Yankees replaced Joe Girardi, who was one of the best managers in baseball. You can't deny that. Joe Girardi was probably top 10 in terms of managers in baseball. And you replaced him with Aaron Boone, who, yes, I mean, he has the legacy with the New York Yankees, but I don't think that Aaron Boone has what it takes to be the Yankees manager. But here's the thing I'm going to say. I have been wrong before. In fact, Yankee fans have been wrong before. They did the same thing to Joe Torre when he originally got signed. And we saw how great Joe Torre was. So you know what? I am not going to put judgment on him just yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I hope he does well, but I wouldn't be shocked if he did struggle in New York. And also the fact this is New York, they're gonna try to get rid of him as fast as they can. Aaron Boone, people who don't know who he is, he spent 12 years in Major League Baseball. And 2003, he was part of the New York Yankees team. And he was replaced by Alex Rodriguez, by the way. So that's a little fun fact right there. So the way I look at it, Aaron Boone, good luck in New York, but if they start chewing you out, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's stay on MLB. Let's move on to Giancarlo Stanton. All right, it has come down to the Cardinals and the San Francisco Giants getting the 2017 National League MVP award winner. And the way I look at it is that Stanton has to waive his no-trade clause. That's the only way this is going to work. And if you want my honest opinion, I think he is going to go to the San Francisco Giants. I really do. I honestly believe that Giancarlo Stanton is going to head to San Francisco. The reason why I say this is because what San Francisco will be giving to Miami back. Second baseman Joe Panik, outfielder Chris Shaw, right-hander Tyler Biddy, and outfielder Heliot Ramos. Now, see, this is the thing that I got to say. The fact that the San Francisco Giants have a package of prospects and they have a second baseman who can easily come in the starting lineup is the reason why I had the Giants winning this trade. For people who are wondering what the Cardinals would give up, they would give up right-hander Jack Flaherty, and they would also give up outfielder Jose Martinez and pitcher Michael Wacha. Honestly, I would do Panik over Wacha if that's just me. Now, the way I look at it, I look at what the Giants have also. They have a very well-rounded team put around them. The way that I look at it, I think the Giants are going to get Giancarlo Stanton, and they're also in the running to get Ohtani. So, man, Giants, they can become very deadly very quick. All right, let's just talk about this, and we're going to end MLB after this. Colorado Rockies closer Greg Holland and Kansas City Royals third baseman Mike Moustakas, they have been named comeback players of the year in baseball. Congrats to them. Holland, he missed all of 2016 with a Tommy John surgery, and he came back this year with 41 saves on the year. So definitely a great job by him. Mike Moustakas, he got injured back in 2016 when he collided with one of his teammates. So, yeah, he missed half the season after being in an injury in 2016. Came back this year, and he hit 38 home runs on the year, which was a career high for him. So, great job by those two. All right, we're going to take a quick 20-second break here, ladies and gentlemen. And when we come back from that 20-second break, we're going to get into the Odds Are segment. So, we'll be right back here on the IJR Sports Show. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to do our Odds Are segment. People who do not know what this is, basically I go to the Santa Fe Sportsbook because this show is based in Las Vegas. I go to a sports book, I grab their odds, and I read them out to you here on the show. Now, first, I'm going to get into the World Series odds for 2018. Los Angeles Dodgers are the odds-on favorite, 11-2. The Astros are 7-1, and the Cubs are 15-2. Cleveland Indians and Boston Red Sox are also 15-2. So that's very interesting odds for the World Series. The 2018 NBA Finals odds, the Warriors are still the odds-on favorite by a mile, 4-7. The Cavaliers are 6-1, and the Celtics and Rockets are 17-2. And also, if anyone's wondering, the Spurs are 12-1. So that's very interesting right there. And then if you look at the Vegas odds, you look at what's going on here in pro basketball. If you're thinking about the on right now, you have Boston. They're over on Milwaukee. They're up by 5 in terms of odds. You have Golden State and New Orleans. I think people are going to care about that game. Golden State is over by 9. And those are the only 2 games I think people are really going to care about. So those 2 games from tonight, Golden State up 9 against New Orleans, and Boston is up 5 over Milwaukee. Okay, now let's get into Super Bowl 52. Super Bowl 52 coming up very soon, ladies and gentlemen. The New England Patriots are the odds-on favorite, 5-2. Eagles are 4-1. The Steelers are 6-1. And the Vikings are 10-1. So very interesting odds right there. And then if you go to the NFL odds, because I did grab those as well, I'm going to read them out to you. Pittsburgh is favored by 5 over Cincinnati for tonight's game. But let's get into next week. Atlanta, they are the underdog by 1. So New Orleans is favored by 1 over Atlanta. Chicago is an underdog by 7 to Cincinnati. Man, you got to do my team like that. But yeah, granted, they just lost to the 49ers because the 49ers didn't even score an actual touchdown. So, makes sense. Jacksonville, they are favored over Seattle by 3. Kansas City is up on Oakland by 4. Minnesota is favored over Carolina by 3. Green Bay is favored over Cleveland by only 3.5, ladies and gentlemen. That is very surprising right there. Houston, they are favored over San Francisco by 3. Chargers are favored over Washington by 6. The Jets are only favored over Denver by 1. Tennessee is favored over Arizona by 3. The Rams are favored over the Eagles by 2.5. That is very surprising, ladies and gentlemen. 2 of the best teams in the NFC. The Rams are favored 2.5. The Dallas Cowboys are favored over 5.5. And the New England Patriots, they have the highest thing right so far. New England is favored by 11 over Miami. So far, when you're looking at the odds, New England, they are the highest right now. They 11, and the closest game is the Jets and the Broncos. Jets only favored by 1. But honestly wondering what's going to happen in New Orleans and Atlanta. That's going to be one of the best Thursday night games so far. Now, you want to talk about the Stanley Cup, because everybody likes to talk about that. The St. Louis Blues are the odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup, 8-1. Tampa Bay, they are 9-1. Toronto is 10-1. And Columbus, Pittsburgh, and Nashville is 14-1. The Vegas Golden Knights, ladies and gentlemen, because we are here in Las Vegas, is 25-1. And by the way, just to let anybody know, our call lines are down. They are not available this week. I do apologize for that. I will get them back up and running next week. Show today, I apologize, but you're not able to. Sorry about that. But hey, next week I'm gonna get them back up and I'm gonna get them running. All right. And then the NHL for the odds, there's none of them I really want to talk about, except the fact that Vegas has the Vegas Golden Knights as the over Anaheim. So I do like that. That is interesting. All right. Anyway, let's get into college football, which definitely I'm going to talk into more detail later on in the show. But for now, Alabama is the odds-on favorite to win the college football playoff. I find that funny because later on in the show, you're going to find out who I actually have winning. So that's pretty interesting. College basketball, the odds-on favorite right now is Duke, 4-1. Michigan State is 9-2. Arizona is 8-1. The Florida is 9-1, and Kentucky is 10-1. So that is my odds are segment, ladies and gentlemen. And here's what we're gonna do. Like I said, I'm sharing the social media. If anybody wants to know if you're hearing that clicking, I hope you're not. But if you're hearing the clicking sound, that's because I am sharing this video to all of my social media accounts. So I'm just doing that for a little bit. Then we are going to talk about the Golden State Warriors, and I'm actually going to ask a question. How long is the Golden State Warriors dynasty going to last? Honestly, I think they're just getting started. And let me explain why. Okay, let me explain why the Golden State Warriors are going to be around for a long time. Here is the first fact. A lot of them, their contracts are very doable. And let me explain to you what I mean by their contracts are very doable. All right? So what I'm doing here, ladies and gentlemen, I am looking at the Golden State Warriors contracts, and they are very surprising. Because if you look at their contracts, Curry's contract is the biggest, but you look at Thompson's, you look at Durant's, you look at Draymond Green, you look at Iguodala, their contracts are very doable. Okay? And also, I'm going to say the second reason for why I think the Golden State Warriors dynasty is just getting started. The fact that none of their players are 30 years old. Not a single one. Curry and Durant are the same age. They're 29. And Draymond and Clay are 27. So none of their guys are out of their prime yet. In fact, most of them are in their prime right now. That's very scary for the NBA. And lastly, I'm going to say this. And a lot of people don't even know this, but let me tell you one more thing. The Golden State Warriors have their players for a couple of years. Like, they have all of their core for at least 2 more years. Thompson and Durant's contract were 2 years. So that means that not this year, not even next year, but literally the year after, that's when they hit free agency. So the Golden State Warriors have 2 years where they have everybody. And that is very scary for the NBA. And the last reason why I have their dynasty lasting for a while, is look at what Curry and Durant did last year. They went 83-16 last year. You combine their record from the regular season and postseason. And they have had a .838 winning percentage since they have started. All right, last year and this year, the Warriors have an .838 winning percentage. That is spectacular, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that the Golden State Warriors are in their second year right now, second year. The fact that they're in their second year right now and they have an .838 winning percentage, it only means one more thing. I believe the Golden State Warriors dynasty is going to stay for 3 years. The next 3 years, I say it is going to be deadly for the Golden State Warriors. If they win 4 championships in that span, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, lastly, I'm going to discuss one final thing before I move on from the NBA, and that is Lonzo Ball. Now, let me talk about Lonzo Ball for a second. A lot of people are giving him flack. A lot of them saying that he's doing awful right now. When in actuality, he's not doing as bad as people think. The only reason why people are saying this is because Lonzo Ball got hyped so much by his father to a standard that he was never going to match. Everybody knew this. Everyone knew he wasn't going to match it. So to answer everyone's question, Lonzo's not doing that bad. Like, if you look at his stats for a rookie, they're average. They're actually good for a rookie. But because his father hyped him to the moon so freaking much, he was never going to fit. He was never going to how do I put it? I'm trying to think of the word. He was never going to sustain the hype that his father put around him. So that's just my thoughts on Lonzo Ball. Now we're going to move on to the NFL. All right, we're going to move on to the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, after this 20-second break. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, to the IJR Sports Show with your host, Ian Kelly. Let's get into the NFL. Let's routine. The Dallas Cowboys, they beat the Washington Redskins 38-14 on Thursday Night Football. And honestly, Dak Prescott, he actually wasn't that impressive, but the fact that Alfred Morris had 127 rushing yards and a touchdown run, ladies and gentlemen, against his former team, a team that let him go, is very, how do I put it? That's probably very satisfying. Now let's get into the Sunday games. And the San Francisco 49ers, they beat my Chicago Bears 15. And that sucked. Actually, no, that truly sucked. Seriously, watching that game depressed me. But I will say, though, gotta give props to Jimmy Garoppolo. 293 passing yards on the day in his rookie debut with the 49ers. And Tariq Cohen, the rookie from the Bears, that punt return he did was amazing. Next was the Atlanta Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings won 14-9. They are now 10-2 on the year, and they have won 8 straight. Great job by Case Keenum. The New England Patriots, they beat the Buffalo Bills 23-3. In other words, the sky is blue. Tom Brady, 258 passing yards on the day, and Rob Gronkowski got in trouble during this game and got a 1-game suspension. The Green Bay Packers, they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 26-20 in overtime. Got to give a shout-out to Jamal Adams, the rookie running back from Green Bay. 113 rushing yards and a touchdown on the day. Packers, they keep their playoff hopes alive for now. The Houston Texans, they lost to the Tennessee Titans 24-13. Titans are now 8-4 on the year. Got to give a shout-out to Derrick Henry from the Tennessee Titans. 109 rushing yards on the day. The Miami Dolphins, they steamrolled the Denver Broncos 35-9. Dolphins and Broncos are way out of playoff contention. They were just playing for pride at this point. And I got to give a shout-out to Kenny Stills, 98 receiving yards and a touchdown on the day for the Miami Dolphins. Bright spot right there. The New York Jets, they beat the Kansas City in a thriller right here. The New York Jets are now 5-7. The Chiefs are now 6-6. Kansas City has lost 4 straight after they started 5-0 on the year. But you know what? I got to give a shout out to the quarterbacks from that game, Alex Smith and Josh McCown. 366 and 311 passing yards between those two. Great job. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they beat the Indianapolis Colts 30-10. Jaguars are now 8-4 on the year. Blake Bortles looked like an actual quarterback this time. 309 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. The Baltimore Ravens, they beat the Detroit Lions 44-20. Very easy game for them. Alex Collins, 2 rushing touchdowns on the day for the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are now 7-5. The Lions are 6-6. The Los Angeles Chargers, they kept the Cleveland Browns winless on the year, 19-10. Phillip Rivers, good performance by him, 344 passing yards and a touchdown pass. Chargers are 6-6. They are now tied with the Kansas City Chiefs for first in the AFC West. And the Cleveland Browns are 0-12, and I think they guaranteed the first overall pick by now. The Oakland Raiders, they beat the New York Giants 24-17. Marshawn Lynch had 101 rushing yards on the day and had a random drug test after the game. Very interesting. The New York Giants were 2-10. First game that Eli Manning has not played for the Giants since Week 10 of the 2004 NFL season. The New Orleans Saints, they beat the Carolina Panthers 31-21, advancing to 9-3 on the year for the New Orleans Saints. And I mean, you look at what's going on in New Orleans, Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram, great job by both of them. Kamara had 2 touchdowns during that game and 85 rushing yards and a touchdown himself. Now, you look at the Los Angeles Rams. They beat the Arizona Cardinals 32-16. Rams are now 9-3. They're top of the NFC West. And, yeah, definitely that's a game that happened. And then the Sunday night football game that Seahawks beat the Eagles 24-10. Seahawks are 8-4. They're trying to keep their NFC West streak alive. People who don't know what that is, they have won the NFC West for the last 4 years in a row. Eagles are now 10-2. They still have the best record in the NFL. Gotta give a shout out to Carson Wentz, though. 348 passing yards and a touchdown pass. So, yeah, that was a recap for Week 13. Definitely was great there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to preview Week 14. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each game, and I'm going to give my prediction for who is going to win. The first matchup is the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons on Thursday Night Football. I have the Saints beating the Falcons on this one. The second matchup is the Indianapolis Colts versus the Buffalo Bills. I'll be honest, both of them look bad right now. But I'm going to give it to Indianapolis. I'm going to go with the upset there. I'm going to go with Indy over Buffalo. The second matchup is the Chicago Bears and the Cincinnati Bengals. I know it's probably going to be the Bengals, but I'm going to go with my Chicago Bears because I'm not going to go against them. The next matchup was the Green Bay Packers and the Cleveland Browns. I would be insane if I went with Cleveland. So I'm going to go with Green Bay on this one. I think they're going to get the job done against Cleveland. The Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants, when you look at those games, I am going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. I like what I saw from them last week. The Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When I watch this game, I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions have enough to go into Tampa Bay and win against the Buccaneers. The Oakland Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs, 2 teams battling for first place in the AFC West. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't like what I see from Oakland. Honestly, I don't trust Oakland late in the season, so I'm going to go with Kansas City. Minnesota Vikings and the Carolina Panthers. When I look at these 2 teams, the advantage to the Carolina Panthers. I like what I saw from them against New Orleans. Even though they did not win, I still like what I saw from them. I'm going to go with Carolina. And the fact that they're at home, too, kind of makes it a lot easier choice. San Francisco 49ers taking on the Houston Texans. I'm going to give it to San Francisco. I'm going to go with another upset here. I'm going to go with San Francisco. I like what I saw from Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think him making his second straight start for San Francisco, he's going to perform a lot better. The New York Jets and the Denver Broncos, when I look at these 2 teams, I'm going to go with the New York Jets. I like what I've seen from them this season. The fact that they're 5-7 after them starting, people thought they were going to go 0-16, kind of shows that everybody was wrong at the beginning of the season, including your host, Ian or Kelly. The Tennessee Titans going up against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm actually going to go with the Tennessee Titans, 8-4. I think their offense is good enough to get them past Arizona. The Washington Redskins and Los Angeles Chargers. You know, when I look at these 2 teams, I'm going to go with the Chargers. I know we don't trust the Redskins. I don't trust them after what I saw from Thursday. And I think the Chargers offense with Phillip Rivers has enough to get it done. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams is going to be one of the best games of the year, no doubt. I'm going to give it to the Los Angeles Rams. I like what I've seen from them in recent weeks, and also what I saw from the Eagles on Sunday kind of persuades me against them. The Seattle Seahawks and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this game is going to be very good. I'm going to go to Jacksonville, though. Jacksonville is at home. I like what I see from their defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL right now. So definitely going to go with Jacksonville against Seattle. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, when I look at these 2 teams right here, I am going to give it to Pittsburgh. I like what I saw from them. Now, the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins, that's the game that has an 11-point favorite with New England. And actually, I'm going to go with Miami. I'm going to go with an upset here. I'm going to go with an upset. I think them not having Gronk is going to affect them, and they're going to lose to Miami. That is my picks for Week 14. Take them for what you want, or you can cuss me out in the comments and say, hey, Ian, you don't know anything about football. You know, whatever you want. But anyway, let's move on to our next topic. We're going to talk about my Chicago Bears, your host, Chicago Bears, for a quick second. If people do not know, our kicker, Cairo Santos, he went to the IR, so they had to get another kicker. They got Mike Nugent, or Mike Nuge, as I like to call him. So when they got Mike Nuge, and then he's going to replace Cairo Santos, honestly, I think he's as bad as Connor Barth, who we had originally. So if you're a Bears fan, honestly, our kicking is probably one of our worst problems right now. All right. Now, if you read the show, I said I was going to do a 2018 NFL mock draft, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a mock draft right now, version 1.0, and I'm going to read them out to you right now. The first pick is the Cleveland Browns. I have them selecting Josh Rosen, the quarterback from UCLA. I honestly believe he's the best prospect in this draft. Number 2 is the New York Giants. I have quarterback Lamar Jackson from Louisville. Honestly, the Giants need a quarterback to replace Eli, who they're getting rid of. It's kind of obvious at this point. The third overall pick is the San Francisco 49ers. I have them choosing running back Saquon Barkley from Penn State. Honestly, I think he will be one of the best running backs in the NFL, especially when they team him up with Garoppolo. Number 4, the 4th overall pick, the Broncos. I have them selecting cornerback Sam Darnold from USC. I know Darnold is gonna go in this draft. They're gonna take him. Let's face it, Simeon isn't working. Osweiler isn't working. Paxton Lynch, who they drafted 2 years ago, isn't working. Number 5, 5th overall pick, I had the Chicago Bears, my team. I had them selecting wide receiver Calvin Ridley from Alabama. Now, this could be a biased pick, but I honestly believe that the Chicago Bears, who are my team, they need a wide receiver very badly, and they need a wide receiver that Mitchell Trubisky could actually throw to and know they'll actually catch the ball. The 6th overall pick, the Indianapolis Colts, I had them choosing defensive end Bradley Chubb from NC State. I think the Colts need to improve on defense, and honestly, that's why I'm going with Chubb. 7th overall pick, the Cleveland Browns. If you're confused, the Texans and Browns made a trade. Browns got the Texans' 1st overall pick, and that's how they got the 7th overall pick. The Browns, I have them choosing safety Minkah Fitzpatrick from Alabama. Having a nice safety to go alongside Peppers, that would be a good touch for Cleveland. 8th overall pick, I had them from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I had them selecting safety Darwin James from Florida State. The fact that he's from Florida State is also a good thing, but let's face it, TJ Ward hasn't done that well as their safety in Tampa Bay. 9th overall pick, I had the Miami Dolphins selecting guard Quentin Nelson from Notre Dame. I believe the Miami Dolphins need an offensive lineman that can help and protect Ryan Tannehill when he comes back. 10th overall pick, Arizona Cardinals. I have them selecting wide receiver Cortland Sutton from SMU. Let's face it, Fitzgerald, he's not getting any younger. In fact, he's going to retire probably this year or next year. So getting your wide receiver for the future makes sense. 11th overall pick, Washington Redskins running back Darius Geis from LSU. Shout out to John, by the way, if you're watching. I know you probably are. But shout out to you, LSU, represent. But yeah, Washington Redskins, they need a running back, absolutely. If they keep Kirk Cousins, then Cousins and Geis could be very good. 12th overall pick, New York Jets, defensive end Arden Key from LSU. I think the Jets, they definitely need to help out that defensive line with Leonard Williams. 13th overall pick, Cincinnati Bengals. I have them selecting offensive tackle Connor Williams from Texas. Let's face it, the Bengals need an offensive lineman because if you don't, I think Andy Dalton's going to get his head ripped off next year. So definitely help out the offensive line. 14th overall pick, I have them, the Dallas Cowboys selecting linebacker Roquan Smith from Georgia. Cowboys need a linebacker, plain and simple. 15th overall pick, Oakland Raiders. I have them selecting defensive end Cylon Ferrell from Clemson. Raiders, they lack defense. That's something that's been affecting them the past couple of years. So them getting a defensive end to help out with Justin Edwards and Khalil Mack would help out a lot. 16th overall pick, I had the Green Bay Packers selecting corner Denzel Ward from Ohio State. The fact that the Packers, they need a corner. They desperately need one. They also need a new GM as well. Sorry, Ted Thompson, but it's true. 17th overall pick, the Detroit Lions, they need apologies, ladies and gentlemen, 1 second. 17th overall pick, Detroit Lions select defensive end Austin Bryant from Clemson. Getting a defensive end would definitely help out the Detroit Lions on their defense. 18th overall pick, Buffalo Bills. Now, this is going to be a shocker. And also, shout out to Rise Up, by the way. But 18th overall pick, I had the Buffalo Bills selecting quarterback Mason Rudolph, Oklahoma State. I think they're going to get rid of Tyrod Taylor. I honestly do. So getting Mason Rudolph from Oklahoma State would help Buffalo. 19th overall pick, Los Angeles Chargers. I had them selecting offensive tackle Mike McGlinchey from Notre Dame. I honestly believe the Chargers need an offensive lineman to help out with Melvin Gordon and to help out with Phillip Rivers. 20th overall pick, Buffalo Bills. I have them selecting offensive tackle Orlando Brown from Oklahoma. I say this for two reasons. One, to protect the quarterback, but two, to also give running room to LaShawn McCoy. And also, Buffalo Bills had a first overall pick because of their trade with Kansas City last year. 21st overall pick, Atlanta Falcons defensive tackle Daron Payne. The Falcons defense has certainly been a problem for them this year. So getting a defensive tackle would help out a lot. 22nd overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens. I had them selecting running back Bryce Love from Stanford. He's one of the Heisman contenders. And honestly, if I'm going to be honest, I mean, Alex Collins is doing great at running back for the Baltimore Ravens, but let's be honest, he's not their guy. He's not who they have for the future. 23rd overall pick, I have the Seattle Seahawks choosing defensive end Sam Hubbard from Ohio State. Cliff Avrils are getting very old, and they really don't have anybody on the defensive line. 24th overall pick, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma. Yes, that is correct. I have Baker Mayfield going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Blake Bortles, he's an average quarterback, but I do not believe he is a quarterback for the future. So I'm putting Baker Mayfield at this spot. 25th overall pick, I had the Carolina Panthers selecting offensive tackle Trey Adams from Washington. I say the Panthers need to choose an offensive lineman to help out with Cam Newton. 26th overall pick, the Tennessee Titans will choose a defensive end from Oklahoma. This guy has so many syllables in his name, I can't even pronounce it. But he's from Oklahoma, defensive end. Titans, they definitely need somebody on the defensive end to help out. 27th overall pick, New Orleans Saints choose linebacker Rashaan Evans from Alabama. I look at the New Orleans Saints, and I honestly believe that getting an extra linebacker will help out the Saints on that defensive side. 28th overall pick, I have the Los Angeles Rams selecting defensive end Dorrance Armstrong Jr. from Kansas. Aaron Donald has done great for Los Angeles, but they do have a need at the defensive end. At 29th overall pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select defensive tackle Harrison Phillips from Stanford. Let's face it, they did get TJ Watt on the linebacker spot, which is great, but they kind of missed the defensive tackle spot. And let's also face it, Cameron Hayward from the Pittsburgh Steelers might be leaving, so that's why I have him here. 30th overall pick, Minnesota Vikings. I had them selecting defensive tackle Maurice Hurst from Michigan. Everson Griffin has done great on the defensive line, but they do need extra help. Now, the 31st overall pick, I had the New England Patriots selecting quarterback Josh Allen from Wyoming. I say the Patriots in the late first round will select the person they're going to replace Tom Brady with, and Josh Allen. In the 32nd overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to select offensive tackle Chukwuma Okafor from Western Michigan. I think the Eagles need an extra offensive lineman to help out with Carson Wentz, and also Jason Peters. I think he's at the end of his career. So, yeah, that was my 2018 NFL mock draft. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So, yeah, we're also going to get into fantasy real quick because IJR Sports, we do have a fantasy thing. where we do have 3 fantasy leagues: fantasy basketball, baseball, and hockey. So, yeah. So, fantasy football, I definitely lost this week. Actually, I might not lose this week. I am up 57-44 right now. But once again, my friend has Le'Veon Bell, and they have not done anything yet. So, hopefully I can get a win against him and go 11-2 in this league. But, maybe I won't. Also, shout out to T.Y. Hilton, by the way, for getting me 11 fantasy points. But Vernon Davis only got me 1. I should have went with Hunter Henry. Anyway, so yeah, I Aaron currently right now. Diana Fuller, she beat my friend Landon. So she is now 6-7, and Landon is 6-7. So far, the top performers for Landon was Marshawn Lynch with 18 fantasy points. And the Rams defense got the most fantasy points for Diana with 21. Adam McCann from Rise Up, he beat my friend Finch. 124-117. Adam McCann, he is now 10-3 on the year, and my friend Finch is 5-8. The top performer for Adam was Josh McCown, who got 30 points for him, and my friend Finch, his top performer was Joe Flacco with 18. Now, Michael Stanton, he beat Sean Drinkwater for this week in fantasy. Michael is now 7-6, and Sean is 4-9. The top performer for Sean was Tom Brady, who got him 8 fantasy points, and Michael Alfred Morris got him 18 points. So good job by him. The next game, Gage, he actually beat one of my good friends, Mike. He beat them 99-34. Gage's top performer was 21 fantasy points, and the top performer for my friend Mike was Carson Wentz with 16. This is actually very interesting. My producer Mike beat producer Lorene this week in fantasy football. That's very interesting. 66-41. The top performer for producer Mike happened to be Justin Tucker with 17 fantasy points. And my top performer for my producer Lorene was Jameis Winston with 17. My producer Lorene is now 2-10-1, and my producer Mike is 6-7 on the year. My mother, she does this fantasy league for anybody who wants to know, and she lost to Toby Perry. He knows who he is. He might watch, so thumbs up to you. But yeah, my Toby Perry, he beat my mother this week in fantasy. Toby is now 6-7 on the year, and my mother is 7-6. The top performer for my mother was Phillip Rivers with 17, and Toby's top performer was Cam Newton with 20 fantasy points. And the final matchup from fantasy football was my father. He beat my Rise Up family's own Andre Robinson. So my father, he is now 9-4 on the year, and my Rise Up family, Andre Robinson, is 2-11. Performer was the Miami Dolphins with 27 fantasy points, but my father's top performer was Alex Smith with 37. So when you look at the standings here, sports, fantasy football, I am right now 11-2, and Adam McCann is 10-3. So definitely very interesting right there. And I do like fantasy football. Fantasy basketball, we have, I believe, 14 members in that group. I'm not going to go through all of them. I am just going to say that I am 6-1 right now. I am leading. I am second right now. I am second. My friend Mike Alexander is 7-0. I am 6-1. And this guy named CJ Loudon, he might watch the show. He is 6-1. He is in third. So yeah, that's IJR Sports Fantasy Basketball. And one of my good friends, Joshua, is 0-7. So yeah, I feel bad for him. Now, fantasy hockey, right now for fantasy hockey, my mother is first with 88 total points. Second is Rise Up Families, Joe. He is second with 83. I am in third with 79. And my friend Landon, he is in last with 41 total points. So yeah, that is our IJR Sports fantasy segment. Absolutely. So yeah, that's our fantasy segment. And I believe that is going to be the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a great show, but I'm going to end it here. So thank you for tuning in to the IJR Sports Show. Tune in every single Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on Google Hangout and here on YouTube. Definitely, check out the Facebook page. Check out my Twitter at IJR Sports. Like I said earlier in the show, though, I do talk about the Cubs a lot on my Twitter account, so I hope that doesn't bother you. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am your host, Ian R. Kelly. Thank you for being with me today, and I will see you next time.